Hey, welcome back to Mr. Repair Shop. As you can see, we are still working on Project VAC. The Marble Mr. Oil has done absolutely nothing, which nothing against Marble Mr. Oil. I think there's a time and a place. I just don't think this is the time or the place for it anymore. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go on another plan. But first, I want to talk about what this tractor actually is, because a lot of people comment and ask and say, hey, it can't be a 46 because it has this, it can't be a 40. There's a lot of questions on what it is, but the serial number says 50 something, and I said, well, maybe it's parts of a couple different tractors, which found out it was. So the owner of this tractor, his grandpa, back in the probably the 60s, I would think it was, had had a 46 VAC and a 50 VAC, and something happened to one or the other one, or both of them, or however it worked. He needed to make one tractor out of the two of them, so he did that. So the sheet metal, the dash, all that stuff's off the 50, off the 46, excuse me, and then the 3-point, the lights, obviously we know that from talking to a lot of guys. Something on the steering is different too. Having the hydraulic filter, a couple other things. A lot of people have commented and discussing what makes it what. And like I said, I'm not a case guy at all, so any advice on it has been really, really helpful. But so I apologize, whatever. There's a couple of YouTube people that have been doing that, so I can't remember the names because, yeah. But the other fun thing about how YouTube is working, you guys are awesome. Within the comments is somebody was commenting on the last video that saying, I just don't know if Marble Mr. Oil is gonna do anything, which obviously Exhibit A. And so they had said, have you tried Kroil? I think it's Kroil is how you pronounce it. It's K-R oil. It looks like if you ever see the can of it, looks like it was the last time they did any kind of marketing or ad scripting was like 1955, which is great. I mean, it's just, that's what they look like. That's their design, and it's supposed to be some really good stuff. There's a YouTuber called Diesel Creek that does a lot of different fixing and heavy machinery stuff, and he swears by it. I think he's actually now sponsored by it, which is actually pretty cool. So Kroil. But if you so somebody commented on it, and the owner must have, I know he was watching the videos, and this morning I got up and I walked outside. I must have got a package yesterday, and there was a box addressed to me from Amazon. I'm like, I didn't order anything from Amazon. I'm thinking, I didn't sleep order tractor parts. At least that's what I don't think I claim I did. So, opening it up, and lo and behold, it's a bottle of Kroil, right from the mail. So, it's supposed to be called the oil that creeps, loosens frozen metal parts, which, and can you get your money back? So Adam can get your money back if it doesn't work. But it's supposed to be really, really good stuff. Which, yeah, it's based out of Nashville, Tennessee. So USA stuff. So I like the Freol stuff. I've had really good luck with that, but I don't know if that is up to this task. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and siphon all these out, clip that all that Marble Mr. Oil out for now. I'll cover all the pistons, which is a light felt. It's a light layer, so they're completely covered with the Kroil, and see if that, now that I have the oil pan off, I can actually look on the bottom side after a day or so and see if it's starting to creep, which is what it says it does, creep past those pistons. And the reason why at this stage, and you might be going, Kyle, this motor's junk, like just stop screwing around with it. First off, I'm intrigued by trying to see if I can get to free up. Secondly, it's gonna be a lot easier if I can get those at least to move before I try and pop the pistons out, because if you're trying to save anything at all, the more you gotta mash and bash and beat on trying to get the parts out, the worse it's gonna be. If you can get things to be kind of free, it's gonna be a lot simpler. I'm at this point thinking I'm gonna have to be doing a tractor split overhaul on it. I haven't started looking at parts yet and availability, so that might become an issue. But I am a buddy of mine that's actually, he's got an old engine left he's giving me. He's gonna bring that by in the next week or so. So that way when I split this, I'll actually have my own lift here now instead of having to borrow Dad's like I did in the last couple of projects. But that'll be nice. That's why I've kind of gotten the shop kind of sort of organized a little bit more, so I have a little more room to work on it, because that's just at this stage knowing that's probably what's going to have to happen is this thing's going to have to come apart in two pieces. Just because the way that crankshaft looks, and I'll show you when we go back down there, because I'm pull a rod cap off tonight. There's just like that, and if you see it before, you don't talk about it, there's like that rust, you know, like on the side of a ship where you can like, it looks like water's ran down and the rust has followed behind it. There's like that on all the sides of the rod caps, which tells me that there's rust back there and it's starting to kind of come out of it. So probably going to be that this crank is then needing to come out. And then again, we have to look at the whole issue of, do we just try and find another loose motor? You know, how much more do we, where do we find that limit? Because that's again where things kind of get tough on that. I mean, there's sentimental value in this. Obviously, Grandpa basically put this tractor together, so he'd like to keep at least the heart of it. I mean, not necessarily the heart like in the sense of the motor, but components of it the same way. But, you know, just kind of also got to be sensible. So we're going to go ahead and I'll siphon this out. I don't need to show you that because it's kind of boring. And then I'll bring you back when we're giving it that. Right back. Stay. All right, so we got all that Marvel Mystery out of all the pistons. Here's that sleeve that I was talking about is not flat. So that might need to be addressed. But anyways, you can see that actually, if you guys remember from my videos in the past, the cylinder walls have actually started, a lot of the gunk is kind of freed up off of them. But the bottom side, remember, is just completely covered in rust. So what we'll do now is make sure I'm shooting the right way. Ooh, that smells. It's got an interesting smell, like a, I don't know. It's like chemical, but not chemical at the same time. Well, that's probably good. Shooting in the fire. Is this still flammable? I bet it is. Danger, something, skin. Yeah, we're fine. So, this stuff, we're just gonna spray on the top of there and make a nice little pool. Ugh, sticky on the top. It's like, I can't, it's a weird smell. That's just can't figure it out. Can't pinpoint what it is, but so they all got a little bit of it. Like I said, this is supposed to be the oil that creeps. It's totally got weird stickiness to it. Why does it smell weird? It's got some kind of distillate. Avoid contact with skin. Oh, it's good to know now. Anyway, so you can kind of see that stuff kind of doing its thing. The big question will be, I'll bring it around to the bottom so I gotta kind of get the mat out and stuff, and I'll show you what it looks like. As you can see how bad the rust is if you look at the bottom of the sleeve up there, as well as, get the camera straight, sorry, how bad it looks. Straight, get that light up there a little better. There we go. So what I'm gonna look for is, while I'm taking these rod caps off, is does that start, do we start having some oil around there? Not seen anything yet, but it's been 35 seconds, so not expecting anything. Ooh, focus. Focus. All right, it's not gonna focus. I'll bring it back once we get the cap off. All right, well, it's almost 1 in the morning. And finally got these rod caps off. So they don't look, I'm pretty sure these are probably Babbitt, which means they're just all soft. It's not like the modern day bearings where there'll be copper that if they're wore down, but they don't look bad. And the crank doesn't look all that bad except for in a couple spots that I can see so far. So let me, I'll tell you what, this thing being still stuck was a pain in the butt because trying to get the bolts off of these things, they were in just the funnest spots. Then you couldn't get this thing to be free because, you know, normally you can kind of move it around a little bit and it'll kind of pop off of the studs. So that didn't do it. That's why it's so late. And no fun is had it. All right, let me crawl under here. Don't mind the mess. But you can see there and that one there. I'm sure the top's gonna look just like that, where it's, and that might, you know, you might be able to clean that up, but would still be best if you're going to do it just to have the crank sent out. So that means at this point, because that's not, it's not like it's in great. It's going to probably clean, it'll clean up probably with just 10 under. So that might, you could, what you could almost do is just put it on a crank grinder and just try and polish it just with a sander, and it might do it. But it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be pressing to see what these look like and what the tops look like once these pistons. I mean, the thing is, because with the way this engine's stuck and with there's no way you can't turn it. They can't turn the crankshaft at all. Where like you can turn it one way and it'll come off of these being stuck, but then it's pushing up on these. So right now it's still the crank. I got to move just a touch, but we're gonna have to wait and see what that Kroil does. But I think it'll do something good. Let's take a look back underneath here. Still pretty much the same level. I figured out what the smell is. Were you ever a kid when you got a cut and your mom sprayed that stuff on the cut that would bubble? I think that's what it smells like. I don't know. It's bringing back terrible memories. So anyway, that's going to close it off for this one. Like I said, a little bit of progress, but probably not as much as I should be getting done on this. But yeah, we'll call it I guess morning at this point. And yeah. You guys all have a good one, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.